Let me go to the chat. What is going on, everybody?
It still says
surprise. We're not on Monday.
It still says
Tuesday.
waiting.
Waiting? What's waiting?
Oh, there we go. Okay, I had to refresh my page.
You mean on the live? Whether or not
Yeah.
it's live? Oh no, we've been live for 30 seconds, I think.
Yeah, we're live now. I had to refresh my page.
Okay.
Yeah, my browser on my iPad wasn't updating. Well, we're
What's
here.
going on,
We're just
everybody?
chilling out, waiting for Sarah. She just finished DTNS, so we need to give her a little minute to stretch her legs, grab a drink, and pat Odie on the head.
What's going on, everybody? Anything new? Anything cool?
Let's see here.
Ooh, it is Taco Tuesday. Oh, I'm so hungry right now. I'm trying to eat better. I just had a Caesar salad, a small Caesar salad, but I am hungry. I don't want to eat sweets. All we have are sweets, like granola bars, fig bars. I'm like, eh.
It's because you guys don't have anything to eat because you're getting ready to leave.
Yeah, we are. To South Korea. 안녕하세요. 감사합니다. I've been so focused on 7 that I haven't really been practicing my Korean. So since it's a long haul flight, I'm going to download my previous classes because I have them recorded. And just kind of, that'll be part of my entertainment. Brushing up. I took so many courses, but I think it'll be the last 10 weeks is the one that I'll download onto my iPad and just kind of just let it go. Maybe write along, do some exercises. But just like listening to it, I think will be good. Be like, oh, right. But if I don't remember the vocabulary, I don't remember the vocabulary. That's just what it is.
Yep.
Ego, yogi.
I spent time in Korea and Japan, so I get a lot of the cultural stuff mixed between the two.
Oh, okay.
So like mosh mosh, I think that's Japanese.
Japanese, yeah.
Yeah, and so like everything in my head is just kind of when I was in Japan, I was in Okinawa, so I wasn't in Japan proper. I was in one of the southern islands, and I was going through a tumultuous marriage, so I didn't really pay attention to local culture too much. Like I did enough to get by being the white foreigner that I was. And then I went to Korea, and the first time I was drinking so much that I barely paid attention to anything. And the second time, I was working too much. So like I feel like there's so much more that I could have done, but
you were in one state or another.
Yeah. I was never in the state where I just wanted to learn and absorb.
Did you pick up, do you feel like it's been so long, right? At the time, were you able to, communicate pretty well around town? I know people speak English in Japan and Korea, but
I was able to get by. I didn't really pick up any of the language, but I picked up enough of the mannerisms and enough of the like the common sayings that you hear all the time to know like when a conversation was over.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. So
nah.
Yeah. Certain little things like when you're on the phone or when someone's on the phone and you just hear them, uh, uh,
Mhm.
and it's just their way of acknowledging it. But in America, that sounds really awkward. Things like that. It was
Yeah.
always fun. Always fun.
My
Um,
Korean teacher who lives here in the US, and she's Korean and has family. She's actually in Korea, so she wants to set up a meetup because there's other former students of hers that are going to be in Korea
mm,
at the same time as we are, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I can't like be
pressure's
amazing in
on.
front of her. I can't be amazing in front of her. I'm worried. I'm worried. I have to just remember some phrases. Oh my gosh. This is why I need, this is actually a long haul flight is really good for me just to be, prep myself. So when we see her, maybe she'll be somewhat impressed.
Yeah.
Or if she says,
So,
Eileen, order this. Oh gosh. Okay. Jusseo. Hana Jusseo. Anyway, I'm
I've been
like,
trying to get Tom
oh,
to go to the Yongsan Electronic Market forever, and
oh yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
looked it
Yeah. We
up, and it's
missed it.
it's
Is it closed?
completely different. They
Oh,
demolished the old one and built a whole new stuff over there. So it's not the same market that it was when I was
oh,
there
it's
anyway.
not. Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay. Even when we went last year. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
because they built. Apparently, they tore it down in 2014 and rebuilt,
I
and I was
see.
last there in 2011.
Okay. Okay. A lot has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were there in 2016, cafe culture wasn't really a thing yet. And then, we went last year and I knew already that it was a thing and it was crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, and today I was nearby an 85 degrees bakery, and I just looked at it and I said, I'm not gonna eat that right now. I'm not gonna buy any for snacks because that's all we're gonna be eating.
Mm. Hi,
Hello,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know that the stream
Yeah.
is doing it's a thing.
Yep. At 3.
So
Yeah. Let's
if
go.
if we want to get it, let's get it. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. And thanks, by the way, for bearing with me yesterday with my poor pup.
Whoa,
No problem.
whoa, Sarah, bring your hands back into the focus there. Those are some white fingernails.
Yeah.
I usually don't notice your fingernails. But the way the light is in your room, those are like glowing. It's almost like,
Really?
yeah. If it was a little bit stronger, I would think you went like with some Halloween glow in the dark kind of stuff because it's really gleaming.
I just do white nails sometimes. I didn't think it was that big a deal.
I think it's just the light, the way your camera's capturing them. But yeah, it's
Actually,
like
I actually kind of have to get them right on.
it's kind of
But,
like popping.
Hi, Odie. Well, I do it because of Otis, because then we match. Sometimes we like to do a little matchy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Smart.
love white nails. Because sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. what
Yeah.
color I want. Just make them white.
That's-
black.
Well, my wife can only choose certain colors because she has to have them in uniform, and she'll be in there. She'll be like, I don't know, just something legal. They'll just give her
What is
colors.
illegal as far as nail
like
polish?
bright colors.
Really?
You can't have anything that's bright. You can't have anything that's got designs on it.
That's
And the
bummer.
only kind of design you can have is French tips.
Oh.
Anything other
which
than
are
that has to be
nice.
solid. Yeah, anything other than that has to be solid. So
I mean, I have very small hands, so like I can never really get to the point where French tips even make sense for me because my
Yeah.
nails are just sort of short. But yeah, yeah,
you're
white
you're
nails.
about the same height as my wife, so I can imagine your hands are about the same size. And she's always like arguing about French tips, like, "Oh, it would look so good, but I can't do it."
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
thank
That-
you.
and she's got really thin fingernails too. They're not like mine are like bones. They're thick and hard.
Oh, mine
are
are
like-
they're like pieces of paper.
Yeah, same for
Yeah.
my wife.
I
Yeah,
walk around the corner and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, there goes my thumb.
yeah. Wind blows and you
That
crack
was
a nail.
fun.
All right, I will disappear, and Sarah, you can count yourself in.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just make sure I've got the right thing here, which I do. Okay. In 3, 2. Hello, world. Welcome to Apple Vision Show. It is episode 38. Eileen Rivera, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well. I am in a good mood because I had good customer service today. So I went to the mall, and everywhere I went. And I think it's because it's a Tuesday around 11 o'clock is when I went.
It's chill.
People.
It's going to be chill. Yeah.
It's chill. It's just nice when you're able to have a conversation and you don't feel rushed. And
now, was this the Grove or another mall?
No, it's another mall.
You've got the Sherman Oaks Mall, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. And so, and I just did, buying some coffee, just doing a few things. It's nice. It's just nice when people are nice. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
It's a tough world out there, and customer service is rough. It's hard to be in, the service industry. So I applaud those that are. And I'm just like, cool. Thank you, everybody, for being really chill. So it put me in a good mood today.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I will say, as far as customer service goes, and I've been to, since, this is an Apple show after all, I've been to many an Apple store, all over the world. And the customer service has never been bad. I can't think of any. I mean, there have been times where someone's like, let's figure this out. We don't have a great solution for you. And I'm like, well, I only have 5 minutes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Drop my phone in the toilet and fix it. But Apple customer service folks, and I've known a few people who have worked in retail at Apple stores. So I know a little bit about the just kind of signing on process and everything. Yeah. It's a very pleasant experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lot of energy to be talking to people all day and, giving advice and, answering questions like, oh, that's an emotional drain. I think in my 20s, I would have been, I did do that. I worked at a retail store and in a mall, and, it was fine. I could do it. But now, no patience.
Retail is tough. Retail is tough. I always give it up to folks who hang out in retail for, longer than a couple of years. Because I did it too in college, and I was terrible at it. I was just sort of like, someone would come in the store and I'd be like, let me know if you need anything.
But really, don't ask me any questions.
Yeah. And I'm like,
honestly,
like doing my like college homework, under the table type thing, just like, I'm not going to just be like, let's talk more about these pillows. But yes. Anyway, Apple stores. I will shout out Apple employees. It has always been, even if it's not the most seamless experience, I feel like it's the best customer service experience I've ever had. Truly. Yeah. All right. So, Eileen, we got an Apple event.
I know. And I can't tell, like, is this it in LA, or is there more to be said on campus? I don't know. But it seems like there's going to be an event next week.
It does. So the going rumor is an Apple event to launch the whatever the new Mac line would be, but certainly M4 chips for the existing Mac line on maybe October 30th.
Maybe.
This comes from Mark Gurman, notorious Apple leaker. Definitely, he definitely knows things on the inside. But I'm ready. I am ready. My body is ready, Eileen, and it has been ready for quite some time.
This is your event. This
Yeah.
is for you. And I mean, it's like you're steps away from upgrades. Like,
The,
you know,
the only thing that I don't know, it seems weird about this is, okay, if it truly is a week out, I mean, where's the announcement?
right.
You know, I mean, just announce it so then people get, hyped up about it. It's, I don't know. The whole thing's a little strange, but
Yeah.
as we talked about, over the last couple episodes, Apple is doing things differently than it has done in the past. And this seems like a little bit more of, sort of like a head scratchy, like, all right, well, let's see what they got up their sleeve.
Yeah. I mean, the rumors are that right now that there's going to be like an event or a gathering in LA, which is weird. Why not on campus? And they would potentially watch a keynote video on October 30th. And then, the M4 chips for everything. MacBook Pro, both 14, 16-inch models, potentially.
Why
obviously.
LA?
I know.
That's
right.
that's the thing where I'm like, this
Is
has
there-
to be some sort of like new tie-on or tie-in rather to like some Apple TV Plus show.
Well, I
Right?
mean, we have it later in our rundown, but Ted Lasso season 4 is happening.
Coming
And
back.
it's going to
Yep.
start shooting in January. So I'm like, are they going to parade out Jason Sudeikis?
It might be something like that.
He hasn't been officially like said that he is in the show. There's many other actors that have, from the show that are going to be in this next season, but he hasn't
Yeah.
been confirmed. So is this the party for it? I don't know. Severance
I mean, maybe.
trailer is
I
coming
just-
out tomorrow.
If it's Apple in LA, I mean, Apple can do,
Yeah.
the company can do whatever it wants. But I mean, for big announcements, it's always, at, headquarters, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, if you're in LA, are you there for no reason? No, there has to be a reason.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean, my
Yeah.
guess is it's going to also have a big, Apple TV tie-in. And there are 2 big shows, one that's going to premiere next year and one that's going to start shooting next year.
Indeed.
So
yeah.
maybe that's it. They've got all the actors in LA and they're just going to parade them out. We're going to have, I don't know. But really, everybody wants to know about the M4 models. I don't know that people really want to know about
I
the Apple
certainly
TV
do.
shows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Just
nice to
tell
have.
me, tell me about my Mac Mini. My gosh, Apple, I've been waiting. How can I sing this any louder? Okay, so speaking of Mark Gurman, who is friend of the show, has been talking about the idea that Apple is well behind some of
Right.
their competitors when it comes to AI stuff. So OpenAI would be, one of those competitors, Microsoft, Anthropic type thing. And I think it's a little, okay, so here's where I'm coming from. It's interesting because if you are somebody who is kind of everything Apple, but then you say something that is not necessarily nice to the company, it's sort of like, ooh, people go, oh, something terrible must be going on inside Apple. You don't have to be nice to a company that you know a lot of information about at all times. And also, I think, a lot of people have those questions right now. It's like, Apple Intelligence being somewhat delayed, and Tim Cook telling, I think it was the Wall Street Journal earlier this week, we're not really concerned about being first. And that's always what Apple has done. Always what Apple has done. We're not concerned about being first. We just want to be best.
Yeah, I feel like the press or some press outlets kind of ran with Gurman's quote, and which he ends up saying at the end, but I believe they'll eventually make strides. And then Tim Cook is like, well, we're going to be the best. So, you know, do you need to be the best now? If you're future proofing it, you know, in 2 years, if you're the best, that's better than never being the best. You know what I mean? And so they're working their way towards it. And like you said, it's always been the trend. Other companies will, you know, maybe innovate, but then Apple will kind of pick and choose what they think is a good bet, and then they'll innovate and make it better for the mass consumer who are buying Apple products. So you know, anytime there's like a hint, like you said, of any negativity, people go, "Ooh, that means Apple's just never going to catch up."
Yeah, they're
No,
cooked. It's like, come on. You know,
That's
they're
not
a
it.
really valuable company, guys.
That's not it.
And I mean, this is, you know, this is coming from someone who's like, I didn't buy, you know, the iPhone 16. I
Yeah.
just don't need it at this point in my life, and I'm okay with that. You know, the iPad Mini, very interesting. You know, talked about that last time. I don't need that. I do need that Mac Mini. My gosh. I mean, it's almost like turning into like a joke at this point. I'm like, come on, you guys, just give it to me. You know, or I'm going to buy a Mac Pro and get crazy. Sheesh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You've been waiting for so long. You're like, can I wait any longer? I think you can, because it's like right there.
It's right
It's
there.
coming.
No, I can. It's fine. We've got sort of a scenario going on in my house where all is well. But you had, speaking of AI, because Apple, yes. So Apple, a little behind in AI. Apple says, we don't care. We're waiting to be the best. You know,
Exactly.
whatever. But you sent me a couple of a couple of examples of AI that was like, is it or is
Yeah.
it not?
I think
Starting
they
with the octopus.
Yes. So there is a video that has been passed around online, and it looks like there's this huge octopus, like bigger than any person. In fact, in the video,
Huge.
there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people flanked around this octopus. It just, and it's moving. And I swear I see moments where I'm like, there's a little blur there. I don't think that's real. I mean, certainly an animal of this size could exist in the
Sure,
ocean.
like a
Probably
giant
does.
octopus does exist, right?
I don't know. There was a moment where I was scrolling and I was like, maybe those little blurs, those shades are actually, you know, indicating that it's fake. Do you think it's real?
I'm looking at it right now. There's certain like telltale things where you're like, well, an octopus has 8 legs.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you learn that when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But like the legs don't, you know, turn into just like a they're not connected to each other. And in this
Exactly.
video, it's like it's an octopus that has legs that are like horseshoes. So I was like,
People are debating in the comments. They're like, I still don't know. If you examine it a couple times, you could be fooled that is real. Seeing it once will almost certainly fool 90% of the people. I'm like,
It-
okay, like people don't know if it's real or not.
well,
And this is where I think AI is going, where it's like, wow,
oh,
you know,
100%. I mean, we're already there. We're already there. You know, something like this is sort of like, okay, you know, the idea was that, you know, a crew was like helping an octopus survive or maybe
Yeah.
killing it. Like, I don't even know what it was. But, you know, not real. But it's like, that doesn't really affect my life in any significant way. But
Nope.
if you do that with something that does significantly affect my life, then that's a different conversation. And it's so easy to do. You know, you have
Well,
all
think
these
of
people
this-
being like, is that octopus real?
think of this as like a movie, and this is your friendly, gigantic octopus that you want to save. You know, and now
Yeah.
you don't have to like make one. It's you make it on your computer and it looks like these people are actually touching it. It's funny. As I scroll through the comments, I see one where there's a yellow arrow. This is it right here. Why it's not real. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're pointing at. It's one of, it's part of his leg. I'm like, people are going crazy over why it's real and not real.
If you look at the video on screen right now, you can see the guy grabs it and it kind of reaches out to his hand. And then that part of the flesh like flies away as if it was water.
Oh, yeah, I see that too. I just thought, I don't know, maybe that's what an octopus's head does. I don't know. I know you're not supposed to eat it because they're so smart. That's all I know. That's all I know. But, people like eating it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I generally don't like octopus because it's usually served too tough, but I have had very good octopus.
I have too.
In Hawaii. Hawaii, actually.
I have too. Yeah. No, there's definitely a group of people who say, no, you can't eat them because they're too smart. And I'm sort of like, wait, so the dumb animals are the ones that we eat?
I know. The cows, the pigs,
right.
I think they're smart too.
Like, I don't know how I feel about that either, but okay.
Well, see, Apple will make you'll be able, with Apple and their Apple Intelligence, you'll be able to do that yourself, okay? And make it better, and you will be able to convince people. I don't know.
Good stuff.
I was just looking, online, and I was like, well, let's look, what's going on with AI these days? And I was like,
One of the things that actually you also sent was something that scares me to my core, and
affects us a little more.
and that is this host read from a woman who doesn't exist, but she's like sitting in her living room and explaining this technique of how she can. I can't even listen to this. It's I mean, remarkably good.
Yeah.
And we've talked on Daily Tech News Show and, even on this show about stuff that's like, a little hit and miss. You can tell, the octopus did a weird thing in that moment type thing. This is so good that I'm just sort of like, okay, so we just have AI avatars of ourselves that we cultivate, and that is what we put out into the world. And then I was like, maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe not. If it's inevitable, then my Sarah persona could be whatever I want, rather than like how great I look that day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to be bullish about this and not, bearish, just because I don't think we have a choice.
Well, my persona could have a better bookshelf, in the background, and I could change the color of this room without actually painting it, that would be nice. Her hair looks fantastic. I was like, oh, look at that shine on her hair. I'm like, come on, I want that hair too. What, not that I want to catfish people. I want people to know what I really look like. But there are some days when you're like, I don't really feel like getting all dolled up,
No, exactly. And just sort of like, okay, let's fast forward a little bit. Like, we're looking at this technology now. It's like, this is a person, that is, in a room. And, even if it's sort of like a green screen thing that, humans are already capable of, like, it looks better than that. Yeah. And you can go from different angles. And I just think, gosh, that is very interesting. I wonder if we're all going to be communicating with each other through, our chosen Av. Do they have names? Is it Sarah, or is it, I don't know, some other name of my choice?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
And you could be decked out with, expensive brands. Or you could be in your PJs. You could be in your PJs, but then like your persona could like, be you. for the show one day.
Yeah.
You know, if you're under the weather, but you're like, no, I can do the show. I just, you know, and, oh, and maybe it could fix your voice too if you're hoarse, you know, and identify your actual voice instead of like maybe, yeah, like you're just feeling slightly under, you're getting over something and your voice sounds like a frog, but you could definitely, your mind is there. You could do the show, you know, correct the audio for you. I don't know. Just thinking about ways that it could
Yeah.
help,
I mean,
like in the
I've been
nth
thinking
hour.
about that too. Just sort of like, instead of being like, I'm scared about the future, because I
Mhm.
am kind of, but I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, how does this work for us?
Mhm.
Like, how would this make my life easier? Like, do I take a back seat and just chill while the
Mhm.
avatar does a lot of stuff that I currently do? I mean, don't hate that idea, but
Mhm.
what does that look like?
Yeah. I've seen students use AI. You know, question goes up on the board, they throw in a chat GPT, and they're able to answer the. Now, I don't know how good they're masking that in order to not get caught, or if the teacher's okay with that, if it's just a simple exercise versus an actual test or an actual like produced paper they need to write. But I've seen already people are like behind the student that's doing it, cutting paste in chat GPT, dun, answer, dun, dun, dun. Like, all right. I
Yeah.
mean, it's happening. It's happening.
It's
So,
happening. Yeah, no, we're not coming back from this one. It's
mm-mm.
more of just, yeah, how does this work for you where it's not like I'm losing my job, more like my job got better.
Well, and
Like,
like Tim Cook, you know, in that Wall Street Journal article where he kind of talks about how they're going to be better with AI in the future, he's like, he says it's changed his life, that he's relying on Apple Intelligence summaries in his email inbox. And it's helping him like, but then I started reading about his day. He gets up at 5, before 5 every day. He checks the emails first, and then he goes to work out, and then he gets on campus and he's looking at, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired thinking about what he has to
oh,
do.
yeah, I don't think Tim Cook is having chill days.
No, there's no chill days. And he's probably
There's
7
no
days a
chill
week,
days. Yeah.
you
It
know?
it's
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 crazy.
it's it's you're only running Apple. No big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, I can't imagine him just being like, I don't feel like it today.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
then the stock price drops and everyone freaks out, that kind of
So the
thing.
summaries are handy. Like, you don't have to read the whole email. Like, okay, got that summary. All right. Great, great, great.
I think
Uh,
so. I think there's a lot of that is it's not necessarily groundbreaking, but it's
mm,
like, oh, okay, yeah. I just like my day flows a little bit more easily type
yeah.
thing.
I,
I've experimented with, I mean, not Apple Intelligence really at all, but um, some of the various competitors, and I still don't know how. Um, I have friends who talk to me about like, oh, so I I send an email or I voice compose an email, and then I have Chat GPT make the email sound better, and then I send it
mm,
to my team, and I'm like,
mm.
and he's like, and I'm in the car because
Oh, even
because I
better.
can't like look at my phone
Wow.
right now, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that sounds so scary. What if it said something really weird? And he's like, no,
But
it
he'll
works
read it
really
back to you,
well.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll, you could read it back, and you know, because you probably should not be reading your screen
No,
while you're
certainly
driving.
not. No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's there are productivity things where I'm like, okay, people are on board with this. People
Yeah.
are on board with this, and I'd be curious to know after Apple Intelligence does become available to some folks anyway, what everybody thinks.
Spot Monk asks, "Can I ask Chat GPT for a tone check?" I think you can. In fact,
A
Apple
tone
Intelligence.
check.
I'm thinking it means like, am I too abrasive in email versus, you
Oh,
know, am I too nice or whatever? Because in um in Apple Intelligence, you can do that already. It's like make it more friendly, make it, just spot check it for me. Make sure I'm not, because if, in the middle of like writing your email, sometimes I'm like, okay, before I send it, let me reread what I wrote. If it's something that,
do I
could
sound
offend someone.
antagonistic or,
Yeah.
am I getting my message across kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. Same thing. I've sometimes had, this usually applies to like, I don't know, tech stories, but I'm like, summarize this in 3 sentences. Be succinct. And, I'll get something back and I'm like, make it more conversational. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds a little better. Like you kind of have to massage. I also, because I'm an old person, I can't not say like please and thank you.
Okay.
With AI programs, I'm always like, can you please do this for me? Because I feel like I'm talking to an assistant that I want to be nice to.
That's
I know you don't
nice.
have to do that. And maybe someday I'll just be like, who cares? I'm rude.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's nice. That's nice that you're, thoughtful to your chat GPT. I do feel bad for the people, Tim Cook is reading all the summaries. I feel bad for the people who really worked hard on their emails and he's just reading the, 3-sentence summary of their like composed email. But should you have written that much in the first place?
Well,
That's
there
what
you go.
that's what I always ask.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, it's like you do your journal. You write that email. It can be as long as you want. And then you just get a nice little 3 to 4 sentence version of it and send it to Tim Cook, your boss.
Well, hopefully, I mean, in a fantastic world, that 3-line email that summarizes will get him to actually read the whole thing. Otherwise, you really didn't write a good email.
Yeah.
Too much.
I mean, we've all been there, Emails, you can't win them all. All right. On that note, why don't we take a little break? So, Eileen, you mentioned the Wall Street Journal article with Tim Cook earlier, and one of the takeaways that a few people had, which I think was a little sort of like, I don't know, it came across to me as a little snarky in parts, was that, well, Tim Cook, he admits that the Apple Vision Pro isn't a consumer hit. I don't think it was ever supposed to be one. Right. I think there was a lot of fanfare around it. So it turned into something where it was like, oh my gosh, like everyone's going to buy this. Mm-hmm. And Apple's like, it's first gen product of something that, we're thinking about. But I've got, well, it's behind me right now. I'm still rocking the Apple Vision Pro. I've never, Apple Vision Pro. Sometimes I want to say show. I've never felt comfortable enough to think I could do that and just work all day. Mm-hmm. Never. But some people have, and other people are, still trying to figure this out. So, one of the links that you had shared with me in our rundown that we're talking about is the idea of just sort of sitting at a table in your house and having this big wraparound screen that is all of your desktop monitors, basically. Maybe you only have one. Now you have 7 kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, that was always the promise with the Vision Pro was that you could just use it. And I always thought that it was going to appeal a lot to people who just live or work or both in small spaces. Mm-hmm. Now you've got this really cool office and you can just have it anywhere. I think that's still true. I really do. I don't think, I think Apple Apple's probably disappointed that, the Vision Pro didn't, sell like hotcakes, but also super expensive.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't understand AR, VR, and, how it's supposed to, solve things for them at this point.
I mean, maybe you're a minimalist and you don't want a lot of screens, a lot of, hardware. And, you're very happy with your laptop and then you can expand it just by having the Vision Pro. That's kind of cool, and I mean, when I used it, I put, Word, Apple TV, photos, I put everything up and, see how I could arrange it, in the view. Not that I, continue to do that, but I was just interesting that you could pin it and have all of this stuff up as if you had a huge, like I have 2 monitors theoretically. If I use the Apple Vision Pro and the way that photo showed, I don't need the 2 monitors because I just, I'll have it projected in my eyes instead,
Totally.
which, saves a little bit on hardware. But anyway, but like you said, not everybody can afford a $3,500 device. And,
No, many people can't. And especially when you've got other devices like, the MetaQuest line, which is, it's different, but it's super affordable. And, I'm a fan. It's fun, got my apps on there, works fine. Maybe doesn't have like the best eye tracking quality, but it depends on what you need it for, type thing.
Exactly.
If I, right now I'm sitting in my physical office. If I was at a point where I'm like, don't have an office in my house anymore, just gonna have to make something work. Something like this, if it was a really viable option, I don't think we're that far out from that.
Yeah.
People saying, well, I don't want to wear that headset on my, it gives you a headache, or, it's too heavy, or it's hot, or, that kind of thing. That is, I still feel like early adopter stuff. I think offices are going to be headsets at some point. I don't know.
Save on
I don't know.
equipment.
Yeah. I mean, it just, that's just where I feel like it makes the most sense. Because then, people can be more mobile and, I mean, not that I'm going to like have a Apple Vision show episode, out on, my street, but like I could.
Yeah.
Potentially.
You could be outdoors,
Yeah.
in the nice weather instead of, cooped up inside. Just
Indeed.
earlier today, I was like, I want to sit outside. It's so nice. I don't want to be in my office because the air conditioner was blowing and it was cold, but it was so nice outside. We were having good weather. I mean, it's not for everybody, again, but I don't think we're too far away from something like this. And
I don't either. And Apple is, to be fair, Apple is merely one of many companies trying to solve this problem. I just think a lot of people are sort of like, well, if it's that expensive, what problem are we solving?
Right.
It's like, you're just, I don't, I'm not an early enough adopter to want this. But, we've seen that with other stuff. Google Glass. Google Glass, a lot of people were very excited about that. And then it sort of became like it doesn't really solve enough problems. And then, it just went away. But at the beginning, it was very exciting.
I remember.
Yeah.
I think I got some sort of rock or something commemorating having one. I don't even remember my experience anymore. But yep, those were the days, Sarah. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Indeed, they were. All right. So should we talk about Ted Lasso?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about it. Okay. So Ted Lasso season 4 production starting, right at the beginning of next year. So January 2025. And like you said earlier in the show, we don't know if Jason Sudeikis is going to be part of the show. He hasn't said anything here or there, but some of the others have signed on. It's a beloved Apple TV Plus show.
Yeah.
some people were like, well, it wasn't that good on season 3, and I'm like, yes, it was. It
Yeah,
was
it
great.
was.
It
Oh,
was
wow.
great.
Okay.
It was a great show. Like
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the show, big time. Very funny. And moving also at the same time. So yeah, I guess we're kind of dealing with we're dealing with a new era of Apple TV Plus. We've heard a lot of rumors about budgets being pulled back.
Yeah.
What's new, what isn't, type of thing. So I guess there's momentum here.
Yeah. They probably need it. This is, I feel like their flagship show at this point, right? Am I missing a different show on Apple TV Plus that had more
No,
cachet? I mean,
that's the
there's
one.
Coda that won the Oscar, but like, this is the one, right? This is like back in the day when House of Cards was the flagship show for Netflix and put Netflix on the map for everybody. This is it, right? But it's not. It ended, and it ended fine. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you have a bunch of the other actors already signed up to do season 4, but the show is actually called Ted Lasso. And it doesn't sound like they're changing the name. It's not like Grey's Anatomy, where you don't actually need Meredith Grey, even though she was the tentpole for 20 some odd seasons, because Grey's Anatomy isn't an actual medical term, right? She just happens to have the name Grey. So you could do that show without a Grey. In fact, almost all of them are dead except for Meredith. So, and she's actually stopped being on the show like every week. But anyway,
Wait, all the characters are dead?
all her
I've never
siblings,
seen this
all
show
of her
before.
oh yeah, sorry everybody if you haven't seen Grey's Anatomy, and I'm spoiling it for you, but all of her relatives are gone except for her children.
Oh, got
So
it.
like her
Yeah.
sister, her mom, her dad, whatever, they're all
I don't think
somehow
that's much of a spoiler. I mean, this show's been going on longer than
20
Law and
some
Order
odd
at this
years.
point.
I know. I'm like, and it's gotten more popular. It's crazy. It was popular, then it kind of was like middling, and then it got popular again after I stopped watching. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
feel like it's popular now because it's popular.
People
If
just
that
like,
makes sense,
yeah.
like people are just like, I like the show because this show won't end.
It's just comforting. At
Yeah.
this point, they know
Yeah.
that it's a point.
Yeah.
They're like, I
I
know I'm
mean-
going to get my Grey's Anatomy. I know it's going to be the same storyline that it's been before, just different characters.
Comfort
But I
food.
like it. Yeah, some people just want that. It's like watching the same cooking shows over and over again. I've seen this lasagna made in 3 different ways, but I'll see it again, you know?
Yeah.
And like maybe you added cottage cheese and made it better. But this is Ted Lasso, right? Ted Lasso. They're not changing the name. So
Well, I don't think they can. Well, I don't know. I mean, this
You
is
could have
what
a
happens
spin-off.
with franchises, right? Is that if you can benefit off the original momentum as much as possible, then like you don't change much, Bring everybody back, as many people as want to come back, and squeeze out another season or two. So yeah, I really do. So Ted Lasso, for anybody who hasn't watched the show, I mean, it's almost impossible to explain. It's a great show. It's funny. Not for everybody, but it was quite beloved. But it also wrapped up in a way where it was like, all right, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun 3 years of my life.
You could follow other characters. And
You could,
the actors
yeah.
that re-signed, I'm like, yeah, I'm very interested to find out about those characters and what happened afterwards. So maybe Ted just calls in a couple times or visits, like, oh, I want to see my old hangout, And then
Yeah.
you can still say Ted, like his presence is there because he made an impact, but he's not in every episode. He's not the focal like it was for 3 years. He was the focal in his, everything that happened with him and his
Was about his
anxieties
life.
and
Yeah.
and then we got to know the other characters through that. But now they take the forefront and he just kind of shows up every once in a while. I mean, that's been done before. So, because I feel like his story, while anything could change, like life changes, it was kind of like headed to like, great, this is what he's doing, So I don't know. I'm sure they'll come up with a way. If these other actors sign up, then they must think it's going to be a good season. So, well, they probably have really good storylines for their characters too. So, I still think that, this was a very much, even though this was Ted Lasso, it was very much an ensemble cast. Like, you needed all of those characters
Oh, yeah.
to shine. Like Roy is my favorite. He's my favorite character. It wasn't Ted. But I love Ted, of course, and through that, I think everybody has their favorite character. Even it may not be the title character, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Ted Lasso. But I'm excited. Like it was
I am
always
too.
like shiny,
Yeah.
bright moment. It came during COVID when we kind of needed it to kind of feel better about ourselves, and maybe we still need it, to feel better about ourselves.
Well, I don't know if this is going to make everybody out there feel better, but boy, did it make me feel better today, Eileen, because
Yes.
we have a Severance season 2 trailer dropping tomorrow.
By the time you hear this,
It hasn't
episode,
dropped yet.
Probably.
It was like
I know.
Apple, we're getting to life is very ridiculous. It's like
Yes.
Apple's like, we're going to give you something tomorrow. Like, just give it. My gosh, just give it. Give us
It's
the trailer.
appointment viewing. It's appointment viewing now.
Yeah, to look at the trailer. But so we've talked about Severance. It's a fairly adult show,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, in a psychological way, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about it in a while because we just had nothing to talk about.
Nothing
and
about it, yeah.
I am so excited. I'm so excited.
Are you getting up at 6 a.m. to watch the trailer?
Probably not. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I'm up
Yeah.
at 6 a.m. in general anyway to walk the dog. So like maybe I'll just be like, is the trailer out? And watch it. But no, I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite shows ever. It's a very strange show for anybody who's like, what's it about? I'm like, I don't even know how to tell you. It's about, the idea of like having like a work-life balance that's very dramatic.
Yeah.
And lots of like science brain things. So
You really got to use your noggin. You really got to use your brain to watch that show. You really
You
have to pay
do.
attention.
Yeah.
You cannot be couch surfing on your laptop while watching the show. Like,
no,
that's not.
it's a like turn off the lights, put it on, watch it kind of show. I am pumped. Eileen. Probably for, I have my series, I watch my stuff, but Severance was so fun for me. I was just like, this is amazing. And I was bummed that I think it was some budget stuff and, writer's strike and, a variety of things that just put it on the
Yeah.
back burner for the last couple of
That's
years.
true.
So we're back, baby.
January, it's coming. You'll get another trailer probably a few weeks after that, and then boom, it'll be back before you know it. So,
Indeed. Just a reminder, we want your feedback. Feedback at applevisionshow.com is where to send that feedback. If you have anything on your mind, you say like, oh, I wish you guys would talk about this or that, or I have a thought about something that you talked about on the show, or, here's my favorite show that you haven't talked about
please
or
talk about my
possibly
show.
watched yet. Yeah. Send it our way. Feedback at applevisionshow.com. We got a real nice one from John, who says, hi, Sarah and Eileen. I've been having an issue with Apple Maps. I was curious if you or other listeners have had the same. I often use Apple Maps navigation around town, not because I don't know where I'm going, but to share my ETA. The issue is that if I take a different route than what it wants, it just gives up, exits navigation, stops routing. As if you've never started. Super frustrating to have to re-enter the route and then reshare the ETA to, people who want to know where I am. I feel like this started with a point update on iOS 17 earlier this year. I was hoping iOS 18 would fix it. While it is better, it still happens. Can't find any options or toggles to mess with what would cause this in case it's a feature not a bug. So, John, I use Apple Maps almost exclusively these days over Google Maps, and it's not because I think one is better than the other. Apple Maps is just easier when I'm in CarPlay, in my car. I have not noticed this problem. However, I don't send people my ETA all that often because I have no friends. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I don't know. It's not something that I've tried. However, I saw this email, and so yesterday when I went out to do some errands, I tried to see if it would bounce out on me, and it didn't. So I'm not totally sure. What's going on. And I'm on, the latest beta of iOS 18 as well. So I don't know. Eileen, have you ever had this problem?
I have not, and I generally, I don't want to say no. I probably 50% of the time I decide no, I don't want to go the way you're sending me. I think I still probably favor Google. It's just like one of those like memory things, like, oh, let me turn that on. Unless I get a notification from Apple because it knows I want to go home from wherever I've gone, then I might just go, oh, right, click Apple Maps. My destination is on the way. So I don't use Apple Maps at this point as much as Google. But I haven't also ever set my ETA. The only person that knows where I'm at all times is my husband, and he can I have the Find Me on my app. But and I rarely share my ETA. I feel like I don't know who I would. I guess I could share it with people if I'm meeting up with them, but I haven't gone out in like months.
Well, I think it sounds like what's going on with John. Yeah, I know, same. What's going on with John is he's using Apple Maps. He's sharing his ETA, and then he's just saying, I'm going to go a different way. And the system is like, can't do it.
Right.
Too many variables.
The system is like, no way. I'm supposed to share this. You decided not to do what I wanted. I'm not sharing it.
Because I use Apple Maps, and I often, especially like my dog and I go to this like a hike walk, and depending on traffic, I might take a variety of routes just to see how to get around traffic fast enough. And sometimes it'll be like, here's what you should do. And I'm like, I'm not getting on the freeway right now. That kind of thing. So I'm just like, I'm just going to ignore you. And it has never bounced out on me. But I'm also not sharing my ETA. So I wonder if that's like a funny bug between the two.
Yeah.
Of
sounds like it might
not
be.
doing what you're supposed to do according to Apple Maps and also sharing it with people where it's just like, well, I can't help you anymore.
You don't want to take my advice? You don't get to share.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I think it's saying
Best
something
of luck.
back to you. Apple Maps is basically retaliating against you, John. I'm sorry. So you either got to do what it wants or not going to be able to share. No, it's got to be a bug. But maybe right in.
Yeah, if anybody else is like, I've had this problem, here's how I solved it, anything like that, do let us know. Feedback at applevisionshow.com. But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap her up. This has been episode 38 and has been fun. And we're so happy for especially those who hang out with us live. But everybody who listens and supports us, really appreciate it. And we'll be back doing it all again next week. Right, Eileen? Sort of.
Sort of. Maybe not me, but I was just doing the math. Like literally, I think 1 p.m. 1 p.m. PST is like, 5 a.m. In Korea.
You're on vacation.
Yeah.
Like you're not. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
So yes. Well, everybody, this has been fun as all heck. I've been having some sort of weird issues with the StreamYard, and I don't know
Oh, no.
why. Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't see that my upload is finished.
Oh, okay. I don't think. Well, I think we have to stop the stream first. So
Oh.
I know
well.
that It's a Thing is going to be recording soon. So
Yes,
Amos,
it is. It is.
Yeah. Amos,
So
are we
thanks for
gonna
hanging
be,
with
like,
us in the
tossing?
middle, in the interim.
Let's go ahead and say goodbye to everybody and let them have the stream.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye, everybody. See you later.